it's Jo here from Bulwell Forest Garden and welcome to Let's Get Growing. We're at the end of June and we're going to start with this week's pack. So you should have 3 plants. There's no seeds this week. I'm going to start with this one, which is a lovely little red-veined sorrel. And these seedlings were donated to the garden. So sorrel's a herb. It's a perennial herb. So you're going to have it year after year. It is best grown in the ground, but we're going to see how we get on in pots. And anyway, before I would put this in the ground, I would want it to get a bit bigger. So this herb, you can cut off the leaves, you can add it to salads, omelettes, soups. It's better if it's not cooked, really. So I just add it last minute because it can go brown. The leaves can go brown if you cook them. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a look at its root system, and I can see that that's filled the pot. So what am I gonna do next? I'm gonna pot it on into a bigger pot. So this pot here. Plant in the middle. I'm going to put the compost around it. And I'm going to give it a good water. And you could start harvesting like a couple of these bigger leaves, that'll do the plant good. And then the next thing you should have in your pack, I've got this plant here, and this is called Echinacea pallida. So I've got a picture here, and this is Echinacea purpurea, which is its common name is coneflower, and it's a perennial. It's a beautiful flower. It's good for insects. And it has got medicinal uses, though I think it's the root that you can use to ward off colds, but we're mainly growing it as a perennial flower. And this one, pallida, looks similar, but it's the petals are a little bit more tattered, but I couldn't find a picture of that. So we're going to do the same thing again. Tip it, and this is, yeah, it's definitely filled its pot. So I'm going to get a bigger pot. And with this one, because it's not root bound, but I'm just going to tease it out just a little bit. And this is going to really like going into a bigger pot. They do like quite a lot of moisture, so make sure you keep them well watered. And again, if I was going to do this into the ground, which I might do, I would still pot it on and get it bigger, and then it's less likely to get demolished by slugs. So again, a good water. And then your final plant. So we've got, these are chrysanthemums. So this is what they look like. I think they'll be yellow, most of them have. So they flower quite late, in about September, and you can cut them, so you can have cut flowers. And they've got quite a strong sort of smell, which you may or may not like. It's an unusual smell. And so these ones we donated to the garden several years ago. So what we do is we grow them outside, and then we move them into the polytunnel, and we take cuttings from them each spring. So that's where these plants came from. So this one, I know for a fact this one's going to want its roots to, yeah, so this is quite pot bound around here. So I'm going to put it into a bigger pot. I've got enough. I think I'm going to go for this one, I think. No, I'll go for that one. Put some compost in, and then I'm going to tease this one's roots out. to encourage it to grow into the new compost. And they're quite tough plants, these. You're not going to damage it. Okay, set it in there. And then what I'm going to do is, because I want this to have like multiple flower heads, and at the moment it's just one stalk coming up, so I am going to take off a bit of its top growth, and that's to encourage it to bush out. And then I'm going to give it a good water. So that's this week's pack. And then we're going to have a quick look at some of the other things that we've grown. So this is my little Leo sunflower, so I'm quite happy with that. And I think I'm just going to leave it in this pot because it seems to be okay, and it's got a flower head on. It should be coming. It's kind of survived the slug attack, so I've got another one there that's not looking quite as healthy. Now this one is my dahlia. They're all a bit dry actually. These are water. So that's the dahlia. So that did get attacked by slugs or snails, as you can see, and they are quite susceptible to it. So I think what I'm going to do with these, because they will grow really big and bushy and I think it's worth it, is I'm going to put it in a bigger pot. I'm going to do this quite carefully so I don't damage it. I've got a bit of old compost I'm going to mix in there. Okay, this might be a bit tricky. Because it's dry, I probably should have watered it first. That's it. Now, tease it out a little bit. I don't want to be too harsh with this. And I'm going to plant it slightly deeper than what it was, just to try and keep it, because it's flopping a little bit. It might be good to put a little cane to support it. And then what I'm going to do is just pinch out its top growth, and I'm doing this because I want it to bush out and have lots and lots of flower heads. So this is its growing tip here, so I'm just going to pinch that out, and then it's got another growing tip here, and I'm going to pinch that out. And dahlias like a lot of water and a lot of warmth, and this is just growing in my greenhouse at the moment, so that needs a good water. And we're going to look at a few other things that we've grown. So this is my tomato plant, which is doing really well. It's in its final pot. It's grown really strong. The important thing is to keep, it's got a bit too tall for its growing space, so I've just put this here. I'm going to try and grow this up here. But it's what we need to be doing is taking out, like we talked about last time, this is its main stem, this is its side shoot, and then the one in between is what we're taking out. And take another one out. And sometimes they grow back from the ones you took out previously, but these haven't. And it's got flowers, so what I'll be doing is feeding it. Once they flower, it's good to feed them once a week. And another thing is my parsley plant. Now these have got, I think they're giant Italian ones, they're quite huge. So that needs to go into a bigger pot, which I'm not going to do now. But the other thing with this is I need to keep harvesting it to keep the plant going. So I would take those off and use them. And then we're just going to have a quick look outside. So I think one of the best successes for me has been the calendulas, and I put 3 of them in a pot and they look lovely. I'm really happy with them. So one thing you can be doing is deadheading. So that one's finished. So we've got some more buds and we want to encourage more flowers. So every plant wants to produce seed. That's its purpose. So if you let it go to seed, it won't flower anymore. So when you deadhead, you're encouraging the plants to produce more flowers. And this is one of my sunflowers. Oh, there's 3 in here. And this is just to show you the importance of keeping them tied up. And they have had a bit of slug and snail damage, but they seem to be surviving. And you just have to keep tying them up. And I've got a few of those dotted around the garden. So unfortunately, we are coming to the end of the current funding for Let's Get Growing, but we are hoping to access some more funding to allow us to continue the project, the scheme. So what would be really useful for us right now is to get some feedback from you. So when you come in on Friday or Saturday, we might be asking you a few questions, or unless you want to put some comments on the Facebook page. So what we'd like to know is, what have been your biggest successes and failures, what you've enjoyed about the project, what's been the difficulties for you. I think for me it's like how much, I think the veg wasn't that successful really, but the flowers have been very successful, and the other difficulty is the amount of compost you need. So any sort of barriers to your growing, we'd like to hear about them, and what kind of things you'd like to see the scheme doing in the future. And that'd be really helpful for us to take the scheme forward. Okay, thanks for watching. Happy gardening. Bye.